You'll share
I'll
it with
share
my
it.
page.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. We're live, everybody. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We're going to let people come into the room as we always do. And I'm going to share to my fan page and I'm going to share to Pumatsa's page. Let's see. Share. Come on, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You know what? I'll do it from my phone. It'll be easier to do it from my phone.
Okay.
Pumatsa, tell them where you are right now. That's why we got.
Hi, I'm in Germany. I'm in St. Gall at the moment. It's on the Rhine. It's about 45 minutes away from Frankfurt.
Fantastic. I love that area.
It is beautiful and
Yes.
stays so hot.
Hot, huh?
Hot, hot, hot.
Hot, hot, hot. Well, we have to soak up all of summer, all the summer we can, right?
Yeah, because when winter comes, wow, it's gonna be a different world.
A different world. We're all gonna wish that we that's how it always works. Is that, you wish that it was summer or you wish that it was winter.
Yes, never happy with what we have.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Hi everybody. Hi Patrice. How you doing? Let's see. So much black girl magic on here. Okay. I just shared to your page.
Okay, super.
Yes. Yeah. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so happy to have you here on my show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Of course. I'm such a huge fan of yours, of your beautiful voice. We were all talking about uh, on Facebook earlier. I posted one of the lullabies, the African lullaby.
Tula Baba, yes.
Yes. And I was like, that voice is smoky and salted caramel and vanilla and like just delicious, just delicious. And you watched the show.
Yes, 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 yes. I enjoyed this show very much. As I was saying, I really enjoyed especially the composers' conversations. That
Yeah.
was really mind opening, very interesting, and very fresh.
Mm, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think out of that group, those group of composers, they became a group and they they have a Facebook group, I think, or a private
Oh,
chat, and they kind of collaborate with each other. So it's wonderful.
yeah, that's great. That's
Yeah, so
great.
that's cool. I like that very
Yeah.
much. Yep. So tell us about yourself and where you are from.
Um, I am from Africa, in the southern part of Africa. Our country is called South Africa. Many people know it because of Nelson Mandela, of apartheid. Yeah, that's where I'm from. And I was born in the eastern part of South Africa, but I grew up in Cape Town, in the townships surrounding Cape Town.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. And so were you always into music? Was it always, I mean, listen, many of us come through music from the church, right?
Church, yes.
Mhm.
I was always into music. I sang in choirs
Mhm.
almost all my life since I was 6 years old. And I also sang in church with my mother and sometimes with my brother. And I would form trios and quartets and also in the church choir. So I was in the school choir, church choir, community choirs as well.
Wow, that's a lot of time spent
Yes, yes.
singing.
I think I was just studying and singing, basically, going to school and singing, choir practice, choir practice, choir practice,
All the time. That's
all
what
the time.
I always say. The African singers have such beautiful tones, particularly when they sing together.
Yes,
It's just a part of the culture.
yes. We have a very rich tradition of choral music.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yes, which is interesting. Well, just like the British, right? There's this big.
Yes,
tradition
yes,
of
yes.
choral singing. So you sing in choir and you're going to church, and how does your family, how do they respond to you when you sing? 'Cause when you sing so young, like for me, I started pretty young, and my family's like, "Oh, she's got a pretty voice," that's nice, but never thinking I'd be an opera singer,
Yeah.
professionally. How did your family respond to that?
Well, I was always singing, always making noise. I mean, even now when I meet neighbors who I grew up around when I was really young, they ask me, "Do you still sing? Do you remember what what noise you used to make?" I said, "Yes, yes, I still sing, and sometimes I always see you on television." So all that noise was for something. So it's it's always funny when I meet people, and some of the people I studied with, they say I used to sing when I'm going up the stairs,
Mm,
going to class. So music and singing has always been a part of my life, but opera wasn't part of my life until I was about 14, 15.
okay.
And my very first introduction to opera was actually on the radio.
Mm,
When you are playing on the radio, uh, and that took me by surprise, the sounds, the way people were singing, and I was interested to know how they could sing in such a sophisticated way, so to speak. And I
mm,
think also my interest was brought up by the fact that I was already singing in choirs,
of course.
so it seemed to me like one level more from choral music.
Of
Yeah,
course. Right.
yeah,
Yeah, you can't hide when you
yeah.
become a soloist, right?
No, you can't.
Mm-mm. All the wrong notes, all the wrong rhythms, everything is exposed.
Everything is, you're so exposed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was about the same time that I found opera, and in the same way, about 14. And what
Aha,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, about
Okay.
14, I would always listen to it to go to sleep on the
Yes.
radio,
Yes.
never ever thinking I'd make a living, be an opera singer.
Yeah.
I wanted to become a veterinarian growing up.
But did you even know that one could make a career out of it? Because I didn't know.
No, not until, well, I guess when I went to high school, that's when
Mm-hmm.
I went to arts high school in
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia, and my teacher loved opera, and so he would play it all the time, and I did respond to the sound of the voices because I always had a big, loud voice,
Yes.
you
You
know?
do.
Yes, so you understand, and everyone's always like, "Oh," but I heard the sound and it sounded like my voice.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So my family always thought I was like, oh, you should. When I said I want to be an opera singer, my mom was like, okay, just as long
Yeah.
as you're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How was your family responding when you decided to become an opera?
Well, initially, okay, initially I studied a degree in a Bachelor of Science degree in quantity surveying, but I didn't finish it because that's not what I wanted to do initially. Initially, I wanted to go and study music when I
Mm,
realized that there was an opera house and you could also go and study to sing and then you become an opera singer.
mhm,
But then my teacher in high school thought that it that would not be a great idea for me because I wouldn't have enough work. What would I do with a degree, with a music degree,
mhm,
when I finish my studies? So he went and registered me for this BSc in quantity surveying, which
uh,
I did for 2 years, and it was so frustrating. And sometimes I would not attend classes because that's not where my heart was. My heart was
mhm,
really in music. And so I finally left it after 2 years, took a
mhm,
break, and then a year after, I went and registered myself at the South African College of Music, which is part of the University of Cape Town.
mhm.
But apart from that, my family is very musical.
Yeah.
My grandfather was a choir conductor, and people really loved him. They loved his choir and were always looking forward to what he was going to bring the next year. You know,
Mhm.
he set the benchmark for all the choirs. And also from my mother's side, we have jazz pianists, composers,
Mm.
stage theater, stage directors.
Mm. Oh,
So
wonderful.
yeah, we do have this in my family.
So of course you were going to go into art. You had to. It's in your
Uh,
blood.
it's in the genes, I suppose.
Yeah,
But one has to train. no one,
true.
no one comes out singing opera, no matter what.
Oh, no matter what.
There's a lot of training that goes with it, and yeah, always improving yourself. It's like sport, as you know.
Yes.
You keep going, you keep developing your instrument. It
Mhm.
changes, you find ways to deal with the changes. So it's a never ending story,
Never.
I find.
Exactly. I always say, tell younger singers, get used to being a student for the rest
Yes,
of your career.
yes, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. Buckle up, buttercup, as we say. Yes. So you're four, so you're 14. That it's true, right? It's like you just
It
gotta,
is.
you know?
It
It,
is true.
yes, it is a journey. It is a journey.
Yeah.
So you're 14, you have this beautiful voice, and you're in the university. How do you take it to the next level? What happens with your voice and your determination to actually really do this thing?
When I was, I think I was still in my first year of studying music, and I auditioned for a festival in Cape Town.
Hmm.
And after a month, they decided to tour to London.
Mm.
We went to London just for a month, and there was a composer, a South African composer called Kevin Volans. He came to see the show. He's a South African, but he doesn't live in South Africa anymore. And after the show, he came to me and told me that he was writing an opera. Would I be interested in auditioning for this opera? And I told him, yes, I would be interested. It was a modern opera. I had not touched anything modern. Mind you, I was still fresh in my first year. In any case, I went to Johannesburg to audition for him, William Kendridge, who's one of the most amazing and well known artists. He was going to direct this opera, so I got this part. To cut the long story short, Kevin and I, we kept in touch. I went back to college to finish up my music studies, and Kevin, when I was doing my last year, he bought me a ticket to London to go and audition.
Hmm.
I went to audition at the Royal College of Music,
Fantastic.
and I got a place and I got a full scholarship. And so from UCT, from the University of Cape Town, that's how I made my journey to London.
Fantastic. Listen, the people, the angels that come into our lives.
I know, I know. And I was really worried because I mean that's kind of a gamble.
Mhm.
And he could see that I was worried, and he told me that I shouldn't worry. If they don't take me, I should just think that I had a beautiful, beautiful holiday in London.
That's what I say in
So
every.
all the pressure just went away.
Yes.
And I mean, he's helped a lot of other South African singers. He really is an amazing person.
Yes, because the resources and the access to the best training, as they say, you don't have it in South Africa. Well, I mean, listen, right now South Africa is hot. Africa is the place. There's
Yes,
so much
yes. We
talent.
have we have amazing voices in South Africa. I mean, Njabulo, my friend who's doing this Voices of South Africa competition. If you hear the voices there are voices to die for. But my only worry is then, where do they go? Where do they go? And I'm also worried with what's happening regarding this pandemic, because I think things are going to shrink a little bit. So we have to really think outside of the box to create ways to create work for ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And how does that translate in the continent, on the continent, as far as creating opportunities? I mean, we have the same thing in America, where it's like, okay, now what do we do? We can't sit in these 3,000 seat theaters,
Yes. Yes.
it's just not possible. At least in Europe, there are more opportunities to be creative in a way, with the smaller theaters, with the distancing, with the state funding. But in America, we don't have.
Yes. 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 Exactly that. Then again, I think then it's going to force American singers to be even more creative. And I can say that already now. A
Yeah.
lot of American singers are really, really, really creative. Um, I mean, for people like myself, I'm a freelancer, so I'm not a full-time person connected to a particular opera house. So all the people, all the soloists who are I mean, in the first who have the first contracts
Hmm.
will be in a better position, because then the theaters are going to use their own soloists than hiring people like myself from outside in Europe. So I also need to be more creative.
Yes, yes. We're all
Yeah.
having to put our heads together and, and
Yes.
figure it out and figure out how your specific talent, what
Yeah.
what is it, and then hone in on that thing and create.
Yeah. Yeah. So we see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So you talked about the festival contract, and a lot of people on here aren't all singers. And so, talk a little bit about what a festival contract is and where you did yours.
Yes, I had a first contract in Stuttgart, and I was there for 5 years.
Hmm.
That was my first introduction to a German opera house. And it was an eye opener. It was something I never thought I would be doing. For example, they have something called Regie Theater.
Hmm.
I think you know this.
I do.
And coming from London, where everything was more or less done in a very conservative way. I mean, I was in the Young Artist program at the Royal Opera House.
Hmm.
So the productions, they were really kind of classical, even if they were modern, but
Hmm.
almost all the time they were kept more or less according to the story. So when I went to Germany, especially Stuttgart, everything was just upside down. So you can imagine my shock and my disbelief, and having to find a way to sing and do everything that the directors need. But that was for me like the biggest shock. With time, I think it was maybe a good thing that I did that, because when I went away and did other productions, everything was much easier.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
But Stuttgart was difficult. Totally.
Yes, because Regi Theater is complete opposite of what's on the page, right?
Yes. Yes. If it's raining, you have to say it's hot.
Right.
If
If
you
it's
say you are in
summer,
love, you have to think, no, I hate you. It's just everything is oh.
yeah.
But some concepts were very interesting,
Hmm.
and pushed me as a singer and a performer to try do different things. So uh, I think it was not so bad after all.
Of
Yeah.
course, particularly coming out of, I guess, the young artist's life. And I don't know if your young artist experience at Covent Garden was like my young artist experience. I was in San Francisco, where
Mm.
it's always you're doing what you're told in the way that somebody's telling you how to do it. And then you get out into the real world and you're like, it's a shock, You're like,
Yeah.
I get to make
Yeah.
choices.
Yeah. No, the Royal Opera House. I mean, I mainly did smaller roles,
Mm, oh,
and
mm,
I was covering bigger roles. But one of the most amazing things about this time, I always say this because I always look back at this time, and I think I heard the most amazing music making ever,
mm,
because you had really great conductors who were coming through the Royal Opera House and directors. So just coming straight from college, going to the Royal Opera House and be immersed in this kind of music, it was really amazing.
Yes. Who was
Yeah.
some of your favorite conductors and some of your experience? Your favorite experience.
Um, I liked the musical director, Mr. Antonio Papano,
Hmm.
Sir Antonio Papano. Um, tuku, tuku, tuku. I enjoyed. Who else was there? Oh my God! You have to forgive me. My brain,
That's okay.
since this coronavirus is so slow. Sometimes I'm in the middle of a sentence and I'm like, oh, what am I saying?
Yes. Well, I,
I cannot
I
I cannot remember names of conductors, but now, uh,
oh, that's okay. We'll talk a
yeah,
little bit about that because I mean, what can I say? When I read that you had gotten COVID, I was like, no. I just like everything in me sank because I I just was so shocked. I kept thinking about, oh no, the voice and your breathing and all and your life. So talk a
yeah.
little bit about finding out you had COVID and your experience.
Well, I went to South Africa to sing in March. I went for a concert and I thought, okay, I'll stay in South Africa for a month, that I'll come back to Europe in April.
Hmm.
Then the concert was cancelled. There was this coronavirus. We were going into a lockdown. I ended up staying in South Africa from March until end of June.
Mm. March to June.
So I came back on the 1st of July and I was staying with my friend. A friend of mine, Emilio, came to pick me up from the airport in Frankfurt.
Hmm.
Days later, I was feeling not so well, like really tired. And I thought, okay, maybe the journey was too long.
Hmm.
And then I had this stomach ache, really, really painful. I went to the toilet. I felt like I wanted to vomit. I went to the toilet and I started vomiting, and I was getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So I had my phone with me. I wrote my friend. I said, "Can you come, please? Can you call me an ambulance or take me to the hospital? I'm not feeling well." And so he came and he said, "Okay, no, I'll take you to the hospital." I went to the hospital. I was sort of fainting in a way.
Oh.
I came into the hospital. They put me on a drip and made some checkups. The next day, they did a test. The day after, it came out positive.
Mm.
And so I was isolated in this room, and doctors and nurses would come to give me food, to make some checkups. And the symptoms kept on building up and changing. So I had a short breath, at some point, headache, but the kind of tiredness,
Hmm.
I have never ever in my life been that tired.
Mm.
So every day, even just lifting up my hands or my legs, the only thing I could do was just going to the toilet was also a big, big, big mission. And the toilet was just behind me.
Mm.
Could not smell anything. I could not taste. The
Hmm.
food didn't even have texture. I could not tell whether the food is hot or cold. I could see that there's vapor coming out, so it means it's hot. But when it comes into my mouth, so I was in the hospital for how long? Just over 2 weeks.
Hmm. Yes, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and I did another test. It came out positive again in hospital. So eventually I came out. I was in quarantine, and I still don't feel like my normal self.
Hmm.
I'm still more tired. My brain is a little bit slow, very slow. So I
Mm.
need to take naps during the day. I need to lie down. I walk my dog, and then I come back. I lie down. I eat something. I lie down. I learn some music. I have to lie down.
Yeah.
So this has been my life.
Oh.
But I'm happy that I survived. Because I had really strong symptoms.
Hmm.
Very, very strong.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember you being in the hospital, seeing you know when you posted,
Yeah.
and just thinking, my God. And then you were sad because you're I think you were talking about your dog. You're thinking about your dog.
Yes. Yes, I was thinking about my dog because I was in South Africa all these months and I had not seen my dog. I was supposed to see my dog a month later,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Oh.
I had not seen my dog and I was so happy to be coming back to Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And now I had to stay in
Oh.
hospital again. I mean, this year has been really, really, really tough. Really, really tough.
Mm-hmm.
But then, we have friends, we have family,
Yes.
and it's taught me to enjoy the little things and
Mm-hmm.
things we take for granted. How happy I was to walk out of hospital and
Mm-hmm.
just walk and take a stroll. It
Yeah.
was it was just amazing. So whatever is happening, I'm happy in the end that I survived.
Yes, that you're here, that you're
Yeah,
here, that you're here to be with your family, that you're here to share
yeah,
your gift, with the world because it's important.
yeah,
It's just so that's the reason why, it's a bigger picture because so many people have lost, their
yeah.
lives and you're still
Yeah.
here. And then you had the audacity to sing a concert.
I really, I really pushed myself to do that. I really did. And I felt it because afterwards I was so tired and I had this horrible, horrible headaches, which
Mhm,
were just nonstop. So I thought to myself, okay, I need to calm down now. And
mhm.
I was supposed to do a streaming quite soon in like a week's time. So I had to say no to that because really I need to take time. I'm also learning Sirena,
Ah,
Italian bass,
look at you, girl. Yeah.
and yes, I'm going to sing it in October in Vienna, Theater at the
Fantastic.
Wien.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
so
Fantastic.
I'm thinking that I should rather save most of my energy for that, and get as much rest as possible so I can at
Absolutely.
least be ready to do that.
The beauty about Serena is that there's three big parts, and that's it. The aria. You have,
Yes.
the shame on all you sinners,
Yes.
with the prayer or whatever,
Yes.
you just stand and just holler,
Yeah.
and the trio,
Yeah.
basta.
Oh, that trio, my God. It just sits on the passage. I've been looking at it today. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yes, yes,
It sits in a very, very odd place.
it does. But don't
Yeah.
think Strauss. Just soar. Just ride it.
You
That's it.
were right. Actually, you were right.
Line,
You were
line, line,
right.
line, line, just all
Yes.
the way to the end, and you'll be sweet.
Yes. And always very small.
Yes,
Think small and,
exactly.
yeah, and lines.
In
You're
line.
quite right. You're quite right when you say Strauss. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's a good way of think about it.
Yes, just think about it like that, and let everybody
Yeah.
do all the heart heavy lifting. It's okay.
Yeah.
No, so
Yeah.
you are like partners with Rolando of your song. Like you guys are always singing together. Like,
In concerts, yes, actually, we started singing together in 2014. I think
mm,
we've probably done 14, almost 20 concerts together, I think.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really enjoy working with him. He's so funny and I love his musicality.
Mm-hmm.
I love his musicality. I love his intelligence and his sense of humor, of course. Yeah.
I met him many, many years ago when I was a young artist in San Francisco. And he was
Yeah.
just at the beginning of maybe his career or ish, beginning ish. And I just thought, what a light he is when he walks into the room,
Yes.
so
Yes.
generous.
Yes. He's very, very generous and a very, very kind person.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to hold
So
on
I
to
was thinking, if anything happens, he's there. We will find a way. We'll manage. And
yeah.
I was telling him what will happen if I feel so tired because sometimes I really feel tired. I have to sit. I have to lie down or sit down.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if anything happens, we will make something up. It's okay. So I
Yes.
was happy to be doing this first concert with him after being sick. Yeah.
Yes, because he could take care of you in
Yeah.
a way. Yeah, it
Yes.
helps you sing
Yes.
better. And you sang so beautifully in the rehearsals. It was wonderful to see those videos.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
I was so happy to sing again, actually, to be in front of an orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And funny enough, I felt vocally well rested.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, this virus didn't affect my lungs. They did the check up on my lungs, and they said my lungs are fine. The only thing which is still problematic is my liver, which I have
Uh,
to check it from time to time.
of course, of course. And
Yeah,
that'll probably be something that'll you'll have to
yeah,
continue to do.
yeah. But
Mm,
I've spoken to a few friends. They say, yeah, it it can it can be better, and
mhm.
there are things you can take.
Good.
It can regenerate itself and come back together.
Beautiful.
So I feel already less stressed about that.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
beautiful. Oh,
Yeah.
I think everybody does. You know, we never want anything to happen to the people in our community. Something as horrible
No.
as
Yeah.
COVID, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's a thing. So speaking of the times and all of the things that are happening in the world, I mean, for me, of course, there was COVID, right? And everything shut down. But when the George Floyd murder happened, it really, you know, sparked me because before I couldn't even sing. Like after everything shut down, and I couldn't even sing. It was so heavy in a
Yeah.
way, you know. But when the world got to see a black man being murdered on television, and and you're from South Africa, and your experience of racial injustice is of course well noted, but also people don't know a lot about those things, and people just think, especially Black Americans, oh, we're this and that and then this. But I want to know what your perspective is during this time about all this social change and what it was like.
Um. For starters, when I saw the video being shared on social media, I was in a state of shock. And then I was talking with friends in South Africa about it. And then the riots started.
Mm-hmm.
And then in opera, people started talking about what's happening in opera. People started getting their voices out there and being heard,
Mm-hmm.
being open and making other people listen. But what amazed me was the fact that this was not the first time things like that happened. But what was different now? I think what was different this time was the fact that we were all sitting at home. We had the chance to watch and react because usually most of us are usually busy. Some people have deadlines. You have to forgive me. My brain just goes
No, you are.
closes a bit sometimes. Okay.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, girl.
If I'm struggling with a sentence, usually my brain is not this slow,
Of course, no, of course
but
not.
that's where we are now.
And if you ever feel like you're like, just let me know.
Yeah, all right. And the fact that we were all at home because of the pandemic, it all gave us a chance to see this and react to it.
Hmm.
There was no, hi, I'm doing a live stream. Do you need to be here? Uh, I thought that we can say it, but I thought Emilio told you. No, he didn't. I'm sorry about that.
No, no worries. It's okay.
That people weren't working, that people's lives were not so occupied,
Hmm.
and people had a time to react to this. And I think, it was time. It was time. The time had come for the world to really see this and be part of it.
Hmm.
And usually injustices happen to certain groups And the pain and the understanding of what is happening is only known by the group.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And other people don't share it, and life goes on as usual. So I was thinking that with everything that happened in 2020, 2020 might be actually one of the best years for us human beings,
Yeah.
you know. Yes, I come from South Africa, and we've had racial injustices coming from colonialism, apartheid. Um, I grew up with people fighting for freedom. You know, I didn't know what they were doing. I would be in a march. We, as children, were always in the front because we are small.
Mm-hmm.
And there would be tear gas and rubber bullets, you know, and really, those were horrible times.
Mm-hmm.
But things have gone much, much better in South Africa, I have to say. Apart from the fact that now we have our majority black government, which is corrupt,
Yeah.
you know,
Mm-hmm. I
and
do.
that is so sad. It's so sad to see all the hopes and all the hard work of people who died fighting for freedom. That in the end, it's coming to all this.
Mm.
Well, I mean, they do say that with every victory comes failure, you know, and with every failure comes victory. So
Yes.
I think sometimes we can't run away from this cycle. But what is happening in my country at this moment is really, really sad. And now, even a country closer to us, our neighbor Zimbabwe,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with the current government um, imprisoning journalists and all this business.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, times are not good. Times are not good. And we still also have loads of poor people on top of everything
Right.
who depend on the government. And if the government is corrupt, if people don't get their COVID funds, you know, food parcels, it all goes to, or mostly it mostly goes to government officials. So
Mm-hmm.
that's also terrible.
Yes, it is. It's not the scales are not even. I mean, how is an artist, who's made an international, career of themselves and represent your country, your country, your continent so beautifully? Like, how does that affect you as an artist and the way you make music and the way you think about your place in the world?
Um, First and foremost, I'm a South African. I can sing opera. I can live in Europe. Whatever happens, my heart is always in South Africa. I love this country, and I love the people. I love African music as well. So, it's in my blood.
Hmm.
But I feel that I should talk about injustices also in my country when they are happening. That it is important for people like myself and others.
Hmm.
These, I mean, we are artists, and artists most of the time we are not really into politics. We transcend um politics because we have to be accessible to everyone. But I think when times are dangerous, we can't be that.
No.
To take, we have to take stands.
Yes, we have to step in that space on that platform and speak truth. I always
Yeah,
feel like the popular music artists, it's so much easier for them. I feel like on the outside to be able to do that, but in classical music, there's not enough safe space for us to speak, I think openly about these issues. Now, different time,
yeah,
2020, you know.
yeah. I mean, for me, being an opera singer, it's a funny thing. I am not religious. I would say I do not believe in organized religion.
Mhm.
I think mostly because of what it's done in Africa
Mm-hmm.
and how people use it, to temper other people's freedoms and to also just not make people think. So I decided that this is not my thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where was I going with that?
Well, the free art making, the being in the space and being in the truth, which is what we're always asked to do, right, as artists.
Yes. Oh, I wanted to say, oh my God, my brain is so slow. I wanted to say that being an opera singer feels to me a little bit like being in a church,
Uh-huh.
where things are happening like this and it's shush shush.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, I do know.
And we all pretend that we are free, but our profession is one of the most unfree professions, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel that no one is, how can I say, no one is checking on anyone. When you have power, you have that power. No one is checking on you. And
Mm-mm.
that's not a good thing.
No.
So let's say you're a singer and maybe I'm a conductor and I run this opera house and I just don't like you. I will not employ you. And no one can come and say, "Oh, but no, you have to employ Karen because we like her."
Mm-hmm.
This person has the final voice. So you have people like this in this profession who have all the power, and yet we sit in Europe and say, "Oh, we are free, we are free." No,
No.
no,
Mm-mm.
no.
Mm.
So I feel like I'm in church. I stopped going to church and I feel like I'm in church.
But you can't stop
It's the
opera.
weirdest thing for me.
I love that analogy. I love that.
You
But
cannot really you cannot really talk openly because if you talk openly, it's possible that someone is going to punish you for that.
mm-hmm.
Silently. You'll be punished.
Yes. And your
It's
livelihood
weird.
is taking away everything that you work so hard for.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is just my feeling.
Yes.
And also women.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
don't have enough women directors, let alone black women. We don't have uh, black people in administration.
Mm-mm.
And
Especially.
I understand we are in Europe mostly, and opera is more like a European art form.
Mhm.
But I mean, one or two, three, I cannot name anyone in my years of being in the opera business.
Mm-mm.
That feels strange.
It does. I mean, I have to say my one of my most amazing experiences what was being conducted by a woman, Nicole Paiement, who runs a small company in San
Yes,
Francisco. I
yes,
She to me changed the way I look at music, the way I think about music. Yeah, she's an incredible role model, incredible musician, and I
yeah,
hope to work with her, very soon in the future. But that was one of the reasons why I was so vocal over the last years about wanting to go on the other side of the table, as we say,
yeah, yeah,
and not just teach, because I have to get the thing out in my spirit, that out of me, be the change that I want to see, but also empower other women to see me and say, yeah, I can do that. If she can do it,
yeah,
I can do it. Or if she did it, I definitely know that little seed in me
yeah,
to be in on the creative side is there. We must encourage one
yes,
another in that way, particularly
yeah,
Black women, because nobody's
yeah,
fighting for us.
yeah. No, no,
Mm-mm,
no.
no, and we're
That is the
brilliant,
truth. That
beautiful.
is the truth. That is the truth.
Mhm.
I've been contacted by one woman. I mean, in a full opera.
Mm,
I did two concerts with two women. Yeah, and I enjoyed that. I really did enjoy it.
Yeah.
So I hope with time, things will change for the
Mhm.
better. You know,
I hope so. More
but
directors. Yeah.
yeah, more directors, more conductors,
Hmm.
more everything. You
More
know.
everything.
Yeah.
Everything. It has to be, it has to open. Like there's no
Yeah.
other choice. For us in America, it's about survival. Diversity is about, yes, opportunity, not keeping people out, but it's about survival. If you don't open, you will not survive.
Oh. Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And you
Yeah.
have to come sing over here more.
Yes, I was in Dallas doing La Boheme. The people were really nice in the opera house, but I was not so happy in this city. I
Uh,
mean, uh, first of all, I saw loads of black people
mhm,
who were not drug addicts or anything like that. They
mhm,
were just mentally ill,
mhm.
and they were on the street. I think this traumatized me a lot. So
Yeah,
my time in Dallas was not really uh, a great time. At the Opera House, yes, I liked the
absolutely.
director and the casting, David Lomelli, really really nice people. But outside, I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I felt like I was back into those old American movies we watched
Mm.
when we were growing up in South Africa. I really don't know. And yet, this place is so rich. And then you see people like that on the street. Mm, no.
It's that's America, unfortunately, and so many of her citizens fight against services to help everybody, to help with mental illness and everyday
Yeah,
living and all these things, and we're getting used to seeing people on the street with mental illnesses and just making it like it's normal. And the poverty is not normal. Poverty should not be something that we are comfortable with for anybody.
no, especially in rich countries, you know,
Hmm?
especially in very, very rich countries, that is absolutely not normal.
No,
It's totally not normal.
no.
So it was for me shocking to see this. I was like, what? No.
Yeah, it's embarrassing in many ways, and I hope during this time of our current administration, I hope people that fought against a living wage for people and universal health care and all of these things, now that COVID that took away so much and people are leveled now, the playing field is level and people understand what it's like to not be able to feed your children, what it's
Yeah.
not, to have to stand in line for five
Uh,
hours for food. Like I hope it's now, you know, gotten people to understand
yeah.
that the 1%, the 2%, like that model
Yeah.
is not is inhumane.
It is. And I think this pandemic actually, that's why I was saying that in hindsight, we might, after some time, think that 2020 is the best, this pandemic is the best thing that happened. Okay, I got sick, some people died. But also, if we look at other things that happened this year, because even for South Africans, people started suddenly to realize how corrupt their government is.
Mm.
You know?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
People are not joking now. It's not a joke, and everything has just been exposed.
mm-hmm.
And so there'll be action as soon as this pandemic is over. South Africans, I have this belief that they are going to go mad out and make riots, and they should.
Yes.
They
Oh
should.
yes, they should.
Also in China, I mean, this is what I heard, that the Chinese government tried to minimize the seriousness of this virus. That
Mm.
also says something to the citizens. You know, the citizens are not supposed um, to accept that. Also in America, what Trump was saying about the virus in the beginning and everything. This should make people wake up.
Wake up and
Yeah,
be very angry. and being the
Yes.
and yeah, and taking over the government. I was telling my dad, like, why do you keep voting for the same people for 50 years and you don't get what it is that they promise? Okay,
Yes.
once or twice, whatever. But it's also is a sickness, in the culture, in a way, of our thinking. But
Yeah.
we're gonna be watching Africa because that's gonna, it's gonna be a big thing.
Yes, it's going to be a big thing. And oh my God, I love this country. If it will just fall apart, I think I will fall apart as well. Part of me will fall apart with it.
Yeah.
South Africa is such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful country. And the people are also, amazing people with all the difficulties,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and what hope we had after apartheid,
Mm-hmm.
after black people taking power.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I do.
So we really have to do our best to bring this back.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. So what's the future for you? What do you see? What would you
the future for me. As much as I love to sing, I also like taking breaks. It does me good when I sing and I don't sing and I just watch life. I
Mm.
think, I read other things. I'm very much into psychology
Mm.
and I read everything I can get my hands on about psychology. So the future is now concerts,
Mm-hmm.
first Serena in Porgy and Bess,
Yes.
and then a few concerts. But after that, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen.
Of course. How can you
But
marry your love for psychology with your music?
uh,
How can you marry your love for psychology with your music?
that's the thing. I don't know yet. I don't know. I think maybe I should do a long distance training studies
Mm-hmm.
and then start practicing, even if I don't practice regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Have a few people that I can work with, because especially in South Africa, there is a need for that
Mm.
because this country went through a lot, and many people are not really emotionally intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
and,
Mm-hmm.
and psychology takes care of that. And if I
Yeah.
can do something with that and make people be aware. It's not that they don't have the intelligence, but they are not aware of it. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of people think that they are going mad or something is wrong with them, but actually everything lies on their whole life.
Yes.
Also, the possibility of working on your life, of really imagining what kind of life you want
Mm-hmm.
to have. Not really talking at this stage about money or things, but just how to be with yourself and um, to heal yourself, to heal your relationships, uh, to be in touch with your emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's a big
'Cause
ask. It's a
it
big ask.
is. It's a lot of work. Also, it
Yeah.
takes years and years and years of doing. So I don't know how I can do it, but I will think. I will think along those lines.
Yes, you lifted a lot of things, honey. You can make it work. Your journey, your
Yes.
arc, that's just a part of that.
Yes.
That's one, stop in your destination. So you'll make it work. You'll make it
Yeah.
happen.
I will find a way. And I think when the time is right, things tend to happen, you know?
We just
Yeah.
got to stay out of the way, right?
Yeah.
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 Oh, I could talk to you forever, but I'm not gonna hold you because I want you to rest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry that my brain is so slow today.
Listen, you're my
It,
sister. You
it
will. You can. You don't have to
I'm
apologize.
sorry to the viewers as well, but I also wanted to take this opportunity to do this.
Yes, you have to come back. You'll come
Yeah, I
back.
will. I
Yes,
will. I
yes,
will.
yes. I have
So
to
stay healthy and beautiful as you are.
thank you, and thank you for supporting me.
Yeah.
Before we go, I have to give some shout outs.
Okay.
to a few people. I have to shout out to Rachel Blackburn, Sushel Bibbs, Dubois and Cam Akeen, Sam Martin, Dr. Kalista Day, Tammy Woods, and Patrick McCoy. I have to say thank you, thank you, thank you, because they have donated, gave me some love offerings and some seeds. And I just have to say thank you to them. I appreciate you guys so much, and all the people who tune in every week to see the show and support the artists. And I mean, I can't say how blessed I've been by artists coming on this platform and being so open and being honest and speaking the truth, and us sharing our life as artists to the bigger world. Not just our voice, but our voice
Yeah.
is what I say. It's so important. It's
Yeah.
so important. Thank you, Pumi. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.
Yes.
And thanks to everyone who's been
Yes.
watching.
Rest up. Let me know how you are soon, okay?
Yes, I will.
All
I'm
right.
now going to bed.
Bye. Go to sleep.
Bye bye. Bye.